This is the story of a man named Moses. But the story of Moses actually begins long before Moses is even born. The story of Moses actually begins with a man named Abraham. Abraham is minding his own business when one day, God talks to him.
Abraham. Yeah?
And God's like, I'm gonna super bless you, Abraham. Your descendants are gonna outnumber the stars in the sky. Nice. And God keeps his promise. Abraham has a son named Isaac. Isaac has a son named Jacob. And Jacob has 12 sons. That's a lot of sons. One of whom is named Joseph. Through some not so great experiences, Joseph ends up in this place called Egypt. And then some bad stuff happens, followed by some really cool stuff, and Joseph ends up becoming second in command over the entire land of Egypt. The only person who's more powerful than him is the king, called Pharaoh. So Joseph invites his entire family to live in the land of Egypt, and his brothers and their wives and kids all move to Egypt. And they grow and become stronger and multiply, and over time they come to be known as the nation of Israel, and they live in Egypt for 400 years. And this is when Moses' story really starts. And it starts with a Pharaoh who hates the Israelites. Like, really, really, really hates them. But he's also kind of afraid of them. See, there are a lot of Israelites now. There are even more Israelites than there are Egyptians. And Pharaoh's afraid because what if the Israelites rise up and fight against him? So he starts thinking, trying to come up with a plan to stop the Israelites from getting any stronger.
I know. I'll make them all slaves. Brilliant! Yes, I'm so smart. Ha ha ha.
So that's what Pharaoh does. The Israelites have to do the hardest, grossest, most difficult jobs in Egypt. And also, they don't get paid for it. Pharaoh was convinced that this plan would make the Israelites weaker and weaker, and there'd be less and less of them. But God was with the Israelites, and the exact opposite happened. They continued to get stronger and multiply. Pharaoh sees this and he gets even madder. His plan isn't working at all, so now he has to come up with a new one. So he's thinking and he's thinking.
Oh, I know. I'll pass a law that says anyone who sees a newborn Israelite baby boy must take the baby and chuck him in the Nile River. Yeet!
That's messed up, dude. About the time that Pharaoh's law was passed, an Israelite family has a baby boy. They can't tell you why, but they just know this kid is special, so they try to hide him for a while. What baby? But babies are pretty noisy, and they know that after about 3 months, they have to come up with a new plan to keep this baby safe. So they start thinking and thinking and thinking. They get an idea. Here's what they do. First, they make a basket. Then they waterproof it. Then they put the baby in the basket, and they put the basket in the Nile River. Kind of a weird plan, but okay then. Now this baby had 2 older siblings, a brother named Aaron and a sister named Miriam. Miriam thought this plan was kind of weird too, so she did what any good big sister would do, and she followed the basket as it floated down the river. As Miriam is watching the basket, she sees that it's heading towards some people down the river. And one of those people is the Princess of Egypt. That's right, people. Pharaoh's daughter herself is splashing around in the Nile when all of a sudden she sees the basket. Somebody bring me that basket. I'm the princess. So of course someone brings the basket. She looks inside. Oh my goodness, there's a baby in this basket. Wait, who puts a baby in a basket? You know what? I don't care, he's mine now. And Miriam is watching from the shore like, oh, the princess just adopted my baby brother. So she's super excited, but she's also super smart. So she runs over and she's like, hey princess, I see you've just adopted a child. Yes, he's beautiful. Right, but did you know babies are actually super gross? And the princess is like, say what? And Miriam is like, yeah, they kind of throw up a lot, and there's a lot of diapers to change, and they're always sticky. I don't know why, it's just a baby thing. And the princess stands there for a second and she's like, I may have made a mistake. But Miriam is on it and she is like, don't worry, princess, I can find an Israelite woman to watch that baby for you until he's less gross. Oh my goodness, yes, I love it. Little girl, go and find an Israelite woman to watch this baby for me until he's less gross. I'm so glad I had this idea. So Miriam runs home and she's all like, Mom, guess what? And her mom is like, what? The princess adopted the baby. What? So Miriam takes her mom back to the princess, who's all like, please watch this baby for me until his last goes, thank you. So about 3 to 7 years, basically when he's not wearing diapers anymore. So they take him back to the princess, and she's like, oh my goodness, you are the cutest thing, and you don't smell gross at all. So she adopts him, and she names him Moses. And now it's time for a super time jump, 40 years into the future. Moses is all grown up, and he knows he's an Israelite even though he's been raised in the Egyptian palace, so the suffering of the other Israelites breaks his heart. He's out for a walk one day, trying to figure out how to help the Israelites when he sees an Egyptian beating up an Israelite. Moses wants to help, but he doesn't actually think about how he should help, so he does a very bad and unhelpful thing and kills the Egyptian.
Is he?
He's resting. Moses hides the body of the Egyptian and really hopes nobody will notice. But when he's out for a walk the next day, he sees 2 Israelites fighting. He tries to break it up. Guys, why are you fighting? You're like brothers.
Oh yeah? What are you gonna do about it, Moses? Gonna kill me like you killed that Egyptian yesterday?
And Moses is like, oh snap, if these guys know, that means Pharaoh knows. And if Pharaoh knows,
he's gonna wanna kill me!
So Moses does the only thing he can think of and runs for his life. He flees the land of Egypt and heads all the way to this place called Midian. Moses knows he's messed up and probably ruined any chance he had of helping the Israelites. He's probably never going to get to go back to Egypt. So he decides to settle down in the land of Midian. He meets a nice girl, starts watching sheep. It's not such a bad life. Now we're going to do another super time jump, 40 years into the future. Moses is a shepherd, and he's got a little family, and he's pretty content with his life. It's no Egyptian palace, but things are pretty good, and it's all pretty normal and chill, until one day he's watching his sheep and he sees something weird. Wait, what? There's a bush. And it's on fire, but it's not burning up. So Moses watches for a while, and he is just like, something ain't right here. So he creeps over to investigate, and he's getting closer when all of a sudden...
Moses!
Yes?
Take off your sandals, for the ground upon which you stand is holy ground.
Okay. Then the voice continues.
I am the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I have seen the suffering of my people in Egypt, and I am sending you to free them from their slavery. You will bring them out of the land of Egypt.
You want who to do what now?
I want you to bring the Israelites out of Egypt. Okay, cool plan. I like where you're going with this, but have you considered that I am but a lowly shepherd? I'm not powerful or important. I just watch sheep for a living. Plus, I kind of definitely killed a dude back in Egypt, so I feel like this kind of disqualifies me and you'll need to find somebody else. Don't worry about it, Moses. I know you're not powerful or important, but that doesn't matter in my plan. All you need is me, and I will be with you. Okay, that's very reassuring, but people are going to ask me who sent me, so what am I supposed to tell them? Tell them I am who I am. Okay, that sounds very cool, I'll give you that, but what if they don't actually believe that you sent me? What am I supposed to do about that? Huh? Moses, drop your staff on the ground. Right now.
Do what now?
Drop your staff on the ground. That sounds weird, but okay.
So Moses drops his staff on the ground, and all of a sudden, it's a snake! Oh my goodness, it's a snake!
Okay, now pick it up.
But it's a
Pick it up.
So Moses grabs it, and it's a staff again.
If they don't believe that I sent you, just perform this sign, and then they'll believe. Okay, that was really super cool, I'm not gonna lie, but I am a terrible public speaker. Like, I stutter all the time, and my words get all mixed up, and I'm not gonna have any idea what to say, so probably you need to find some. Moses, who makes a person's mouth? You do? That's right. So I know you're not good at the whole public speaking thing. I know you have a stutter, but I'm gonna tell you what to say. You don't need to worry about that, Moses.
Now, this entire time, Moses has been coming up with excuse after excuse for why he cannot do what God is telling him to do. But God is an answer for every excuse. So Moses resorts to the only thing he has left: begging. So he's like, please, God, please send anyone else. I don't want to go back to Egypt. This sounds really big and really scary and way out of my league. I don't want to do this. I don't even think I can do this. Please, just send anyone else, not me. Please. Moses, no. I have chosen you. I want you to lead my people out of Egypt. And yes, it is a big job and it will be scary. You're right. You're not important enough or powerful enough to do it on your own. But you won't be alone. I'll be with you. I'll be right there guiding you every step of the way. You don't need to worry about it, Moses. You just need to go. Moses is out of excuses and he is out of arguments. So he sighs and he says, okay. And he goes. He packs up his family, sells his sheep, and heads back to Egypt. And you know what? God is exactly what he said he'd do. He uses Moses to lead the people of Israel out of Egypt. He does super cool things, like mind-blowingly awesome stuff, all because Moses said okay and went. And sometimes the same sort of thing happens with us. I mean, God's probably not going to tell us to lead an entire nation out of slavery. Whew. But he does ask us to do things that seem too big and scary for us. Sometimes we feel like we're not important or powerful enough to do what he's asking us to do. We feel too small, too weak, too young, too old. We come up with a list of excuses for why we're the wrong person for the job, just like Moses did. But God has promised us the exact same thing that he promised Moses. He will always be with us, always help us. It doesn't matter how big the job is, God is bigger. It doesn't matter how weak we feel, God is strong enough to help us through anything. All we have to do is follow where he leads. See, God isn't looking for people who are big or powerful or important. God's looking for people who are willing. People who will say okay and go. Because when we do, God will do amazing things through us. He will do mind-blowingly awesome stuff if we just say okay and go.